help this team weather the absence of Caitlin Clark, where they're essentially thriving over the last couple of games. Banham able to pick up the loose change and deposit it.
That phrase, so simple. So sharp goes with amplified resonance when we talk about Caitlin Clark and the cultural, economic, and sporting whirlwind she's stirred within professional basketball. She is just two words, yet they carry an entire discourse on value, recognition, optics, and gender equity in sports. It's not merely about stats or trophies anymore, it's about perception, potential, and the weight of narrative. When Ice Cube, founder of the Big Three League and an iconic voice in both hip-hop and modern sports entrepreneurship, speaks about athletes and their worth, he does so from the standpoint of reverence for the game's sanctity. He isn't just a businessman chasing profit, he is, first and foremost, a fan of the game, a fan who idolized the likes of Julius Dr. J. Irving, George Iceman Gervin, Rick Barry, and Gary Payton, legends who didn't just play basketball but embodied its soul. These athletes weren't merely competitors, they were architects of the sport's charisma, its emotional gravity, and its commercial magnetism. So, when Ice Cube explains what it means to invite someone into the Big Three League, into what he considers a sacred chamber of elite basketball minds, he doesn't just speak in metaphor. He offers a blueprint of honor, respect, and cultural recognition, and in his signature bluntness, he made it crystal clear: if you're going to invite them to dinner, you better not have no expletive paper plates. That metaphor slices deep into the reality of how talent is treated, especially in women's sports, where optics often overshadow output, and where value is too often dictated by marketability instead of merit. In Ice Cube's world, Clark is the dinner guest you serve with silverware, fine china, and a curated wine list. She deserves the spotlight, the VIP treatment, the sponsor calls, and the primetime broadcasts. She is the draw, the magnetism, the story. Meanwhile, Angel Reese, he implied, might not yet receive that same treatment, not because she lacks talent, charisma, or impact, but because of how the commercial world currently ranks her appeal. It's a brutally honest assessment that reflects larger dynamics in sports marketing and racial bias, where athletes of color, especially women, are often viewed through a lens of skepticism and mischaracterization. But let's not mistake Cube's analogy as dismissal of Reese's value. Its commentary on a market that still treats athletes unequally based on aesthetics, demeanor, and perceived brand fit. Clark, to her credit, has become a transcendent figure. Her game is a blend of lethal shooting, court vision, clutch DNA, and disciplined humility. She doesn't just play basketball, she narrates it. Every pass, every three-pointer, every stare-down moment is a chapter in a larger storybook. And in today's attention economy, that storytelling ability is gold. It's why leagues like Ice Cube's Big Three and the newly launched unrivaled 3-0-3 Women's League have offered her multi-million-dollar deals, because they're not just offering compensation for gameplay. They're offering a stake in narrative capitalism. They want what she brings: audience engagement, legitimacy, and energy. Yet despite those lucrative offers, $5 million for just 8 games, plus playoff incentives and a tidal wave of brand sponsorship, Clark said no. She chose to play in the WNBA for the Indiana Fever, a franchise still building its identity. She turned down the gourmet dinner and picked up the paper plate. Not because she didn't understand the value of the offer, but because she understood something deeper: legacy. Clark didn't want to be a cameo in a side project. She wanted to anchor something foundational. In doing so, she willingly entered a league still plagued by economic disparity, logistical headaches, and institutional neglect. Rookie contracts barely reach 6 figures. Charter flights are a luxury, not a standard. Marketing campaigns are inconsistent. Yet Clark chose this path, perhaps because she saw the long game. Maybe she believed that to truly elevate women's basketball, you have to build from within, not above. This decision is not just about rejecting money, it's about betting on a future where the WNBA is no longer the underdog. Meanwhile, Angel Reese continues to exist in the media crosshairs. Her college legacy punctuated by a national championship, jaw-dropping performances, and unforgettable eyeballs and debates to women's basketball like never before. Her style is expressive, her leadership vocal, her presence magnetic. Yet she hasn't been offered a $5 million deal. She hasn't been courted as aggressively by parallel leagues. Why? Because despite her popularity, many brands see her as risky, not due to any misconduct, but because she defies the sanitized expectations of marketable athletes. She is unapologetically black, loud when she needs to be, political when she feels the call, and emotional because she cares. In corporate boardrooms obsessed with neutrality, those are seen as liabilities, not assets. It's a double standard, rooted in racial bias and gender norms. A white athlete exuding confidence is a competitor. A black woman doing the same is aggressive. And it's this coded language that continues to prevent full equity in sports marketing. Reese's brand is forming, and yes, it's different from Clark's, but that difference is precisely why she deserves a seat at the same dinner table. She brings fans, cultural cachet, and a flavor of authenticity that can't be engineered. Her presence energizes arenas and turns every moment into a headline. Yet, the offers remain slower. The paper plates remain thinner. But Reese is not just waiting cheese building. She's collaborating with fashion houses, launching endorsements, and using her platform to advocate for justice and representation. Still, the divide remains, and the storm clouds are gathering over the WNBA. Talks of a potential strike loom in the distance, fueled by years of simmering frustration. The players want fair pay, charter flights, better marketing, and most of all, respect. The league's explosive growth in viewership and media coverage must now be matched with investment. Because if it's not, other leagues like Big Three, Unrivaled, or future contenders will happily step in. Ice Cube's offer wasn't just business, it was a shot across the bow. It was a wake-up call, a declaration that, if the WNBA doesn't honor its stars, someone else will. Even though Clark turned him down, the message was clear: treat your stars with reverence, or lose them. And the clock is ticking. Because we live in a world where visibility equals value. Where one viral highlight can generate millions of dollars in endorsements. Where athletes are no longer just players, they are influencers. CEOs of their own brand, walking ecosystems of commerce and culture. Clark and Reese embody that evolution. They are modern athletes, yes, but also media personalities, cultural icons, and trendsetters. Their impact stretches far beyond the hardwood. Every outfit they wear, every comment they post, every interview they give it shapes a narrative. But while they're pushing the ceiling higher, the system remains rigid. The infrastructure of women's sports hasn't caught up to their ambition. Too often, the leagues expect superhuman output with subhuman treatment. And that gap, that's what threatens to derail everything. The WNBA must adapt or be outpaced. It must pay like a pro league, travel like a pro league, and promote like a pro league, because Caitlin Clark won't be the last generational talent to come through those doors. And Angel Reese won't be the last player unfairly labeled too much. There's an entire generation watching, waiting, preparing to choose their path. Some will stay, some will go, and their decision will depend on whether they're handed silverware, another paper plate. In this cultural revolution, every move matters. Every choice echoes. Clark may have left millions on the table, but she gained something far more enduring: a platform for transformation. If she succeeds in elevating the WNBA, her name will be etched in sports history, not just as a great shooter, but as a pioneer. And if Reese continues to build her empire outside the league's traditional pipelines, she will become a blueprint for the new age athlete: unfiltered, uncompromising, and undeniably influential. They are both essential. Because progress doesn't happen in a vacuum, it happens when contrast meets cooperation. When different voices pull in the same direction. Clark's quiet fire and Reese's bold brilliance are not opposites, they are complementary forces. Together, they are rewriting what it means to be a woman in sports. Not just tolerated, but celebrated. Not just included, but centered. They remind us that influence doesn't wear a uniform, it wears purpose. And it shows up to dinner expecting to be fed, not tokenized. So now, the question isn't whether Caitlin Clark was smart to choose the WNBA, it's whether the WNBA is smart enough to hold on to her. And not just her, but everyone like her. Everyone like Reese. Everyone who brings something powerful to the table. Because if they don't, someone else will. And when that happens, the plates won't just get sturdier. The entire table might shift. Permanently.
Overhand hits a three! You saw her do it over Brianna Stewart. Nye back in the game for Vegas.
The Chicago Sky find themselves in a critical moment, one that feels like a slow unraveling of what was once a season filled with hope and potential. After dropping 5 straight games, their grip on any realistic playoff chances is slipping. With each passing matchup, the energy is tense. The fan base, though loyal and passionate, is restless, and hovering over it all is the uncertainty surrounding their brightest young star, Angel Reese. or as fans in the Windy City affectionately call her Chi Barbie. Since her arrival in Chicago, Angel Reese has been nothing short of magnetic. Her impact transcends the game itself. Yes, she's a relentless rebounder, a defensive disruptor, and a high-energy finisher around the rim. But more than that, she's a cultural icon in the making. Her fashion statements have turned tunnel walks into viral moments. Her social media presence creates waves every time she tweets, posts, or speaks. The Chi Barbie nickname may have started as playful branding, but it has evolved into something far more significant. It's now a symbol of hope, resilience, and the dual power of authenticity and style in modern sports. Her brand is exploding, and for good reason. She is unapologetically herself in a league and industry that often asks players to conform. Her long lashes, diamond accessories, press-on nails, bold walk, and unfiltered confidence are not distractions, they're declarations. Declarations that athletes, especially black women, no longer have to shrink themselves to fit in. They can be bold, brilliant, emotional, and effective. And Angel Reese is all of that and more. But despite all this buzz, Chicago's situation remains precarious. Their season, which began with promise and fanfare, is now teetering on the edge of disappointment. And the weight of that turnaround, fair or not, is resting, in part, on Angel Reese's injured back. That injury, which has kept her sidelined for multiple games now, is being treated with extreme caution. The Sky's medical team is watching every development closely. Not just because of what Reese means to this season, but because of what she represents to the franchise's future. She isn't just a rookie anymore, she's a foundational piece, a franchise player, a potential all-star in the making. Rushing her return could jeopardize everything, and everyone knows it. But with each game that passes, Chicago's urgency grows. They miss her presence in the paint. Her rebounding numbers were among the best 4 rookies across the league before her injury, and her second chance plays routinely injected momentum into otherwise sluggish offensive possessions. She doesn't just fill a stat sheet, she ignites emotion. She feeds off the crowd and gives them reason to believe, even when the score suggests otherwise. Without her, the Sky looked like a ship drifting without an anchor. And it's not just her plates, the intangibles, the charisma, the toughness, the refusal to back down, the emotional fire that lifts teammates and challenges opponents. That's not something you can substitute or strategize around. You either have it on the floor or you don't. And right now, Chicago doesn't.